Hi guys, let's get started with our feudalism lesson. You're going to go to classwork. You need to open your book to page 44, Societies of Europe. Your notes are here. You're going to scroll down. We've been talking about societies of West Africa, the empires, the religions, their trade. So now we're going to talk about European Middle Ages from the 400s to the 1300s. Close this one. So, the main idea, by 1500, Europe was going through a period of social change that sparked interest in learning and exploration. Why do we care about it, Ms. Cantwell? Because the changes taking place in Europe led to the exploration of the Americas, where we are today. Let's talk about feudalism. So there's a story here about Ermentrude. So she lived in the European Middle Ages, which lasted from the late 400s to when the Roman Empire ended in the 1300s. So the Romans used written laws. There's that feature of civilization, written laws, and a mighty army to keep order. But over time, the empire grew weak. Germanic tribes from the east and north invaded the empire, which contributed to its fall. The rough, uneducated Germanic tribes destroyed the strong Roman government and trade networks, and the tribes set up small kingdoms. With no trade going on, people stopped using money, and so they paid in goods such as chicken and eggs. This is called bartering. So let's say Miss Cantwell has the specialized job of making blankets. And let's say that you need blankets, but you make awesome weapons. So we would not use money, we would trade our goods. I would give you 5 blankets for 1 awesome spear. We would trade our goods. So other people also disrupted Europe. During the 800s to 1000s, Vikings swept down from the north. Those are Miss Cantwell's ancestors, you guys. Way to go, Vikings. From their warships, they carried out lightning raids, looting villages, and then racing back out to sea. To survive such difficult times, Europeans turned to feudalism. Feudalism is a political system in which the king allows nobles or lords to use lands that belong to him. In return, the lords owe the king military service and protection for the people living on the land. Along with feudalism, Europeans developed the manor system. In this system, lords divided their lands into manors or large estates that were farmed mostly by serfs. Serfs were landless peasants who weren't allowed to leave the manor. In return for the serfs' work, the lord provided protection. Serfs are basically poor, slave-type people. So during this time, the Roman Catholic Church also gained power during these uncertain times. The church took on roles once filled by government officials. The church collected taxes, and it aided the sick and also punished criminals. It became a powerful unifying force throughout Europe. So in your notes, you guys need to copy these down. Feudalism. This is what it looks like. On the bottom, feudalism are the peasants, the people who do all the dirty work and the farming and the cooking and the cleaning and you name it. They had every job. So their food and services went to the knights. They took care of the knights, also known as vassals. So the knights provided military protection to the nobles. And in return, the nobles gave money and knights to the king. So here sits the king on the top. The king says, oh, thanks for the money and the protection of the knights. Here's some land. So the nobles say, thanks for the protection and military service. Here's some land. The knights say, oh, thanks, peasants, for the food and services you provide. Here's some land. So it's like a pyramid. And so the peasants give to the knights give to the nobles give to the king. And in return, they get land and protection. The only way that I can explain this to you is in this awesome little diagram. In a perfect world, my classroom would be set up like this, and we would be doing this with Skittles. So, since we're not doing this with Skittles, this is the best I can do. So, while I talk through this, I may pause the video so that I can do the math and add these numbers. So everybody starts with 10 Skittles, or 10 chickens, or 10 eggs. Everybody has the same amount to begin with, okay? So because the peasants pay the knights for protection, let's see if this is going to work. They give away 4 of whatever they're supplying. So we're literally going to talk about Skittles. Nope, let's talk about chickens. They have 10 chickens. So they give away 4 chickens to their knight that protects them, which leaves them each with 6. Come on. Okay, so they have given 4 chickens to the knights, who now have 14. Okay? All right, thanks for the protection, knights. Here's 4 chickens. Well, now the knights have to pay the nobles off for their land and for providing for them. So out of these 14, the knights give the nobles 5. So they're only keeping 1 of the 4, but they're giving away 5. So this leaves our guys with 9. And the knights are giving 5 to the nobles. Okay, cool. Oh, the nobles are happy. Now they have 15. They have 15 chickens. So the peasants started out with 10, but now they only have 6. The knights started out with 10, and they only have 9, which, you know, isn't a bad dig into their chicken supply, but, you know, they're missing 1 of the original 10. The nobles started out with 10, and now they got 15, and they're super excited. Like, sweet, we have all that we need. However, the nobles have to pay the king for protection and land. So the nobles are keeping 2 of the 5 that they got from the knights, and they're going to give the king 3. Okay? So this leaves this guy with 12, and he gives 3 to the king. Okay? This guy gives 3 to the king also. And this guy gives 3 to the king also. So this system kind of worked because the peasants, you know, they had enough to stay alive. They had enough chickens for eggs and meat. But at the same time, even though they gave a large chunk of their chickens to the knights provided protection to the peasants. Okay? And the knights, you know, they're only missing 1 of the original chickens. They still have 9. And they provide protection to the nobles, but the nobles give them land. So they still have 9 chickens, and they still have land. The nobles have 2 more chickens than they started out with. They gave them to the king. The king is happy, and now the king gives them as much land so that they can continue to have more knights and can continue to hire more peasants to do the dirty work and take care of them and the king. So even though this system looks super unfair, so if you were sitting on my front row with your Skittles and you see that the king in the back here has almost 20 Skittles and you have 6, it seems really unfair. But the king, the nobles, and the knights all provided land and protection to the peasants. So it goes up this way, you get my services, and then in return, I get land and protection. Okay? So that is how feudalism works. So the serfs were landless peasants. They didn't have any land, but they were protected by the knights that they worked for. So in the book, the revival of trades and towns. So feudalism brought way more stability to the society, because as people gained lands, there was a long chapter of peace and security. So people felt safe again traveling. So the merchants, once again, were traveling. There were new farming methods that were better. There was more food because the farming methods increased in efficiency. So with more to eat, the population grew. So feudalism brought stability. Merchants felt safe again to travel and trade. Farming methods were better, which equals more food, and more food equals bigger population and more people. So over time, these serfs ran away to towns, and these serfs were like, okay, well, I have to feed my family. So they became craftspeople. This is where the specialized jobs come in. Some people became shoemakers or weapons makers. And all these craftspeople, these serfs who ran away to towns, created a whole new social class, the middle class. So they had fewer riches and rights than the lords and the knights, but they had far more freedom than when they were poor, landless serfs. Okay, so we're going to end there. That's feudalism. You got to remember feudalism. And feudalism created stability so that trade and specialized jobs and people could travel so that cities could remain centers of trade. All right, that's the end of lecture. You guys are good. I cannot find the pause button, and this is awesome.